Good morning, everyone. Today is June 4th, 9 a.m. Central Time here. We're going to be live with Wim Pinot. Sorry about that. In here in a minute, and I just wanted to cover of course, my camera decided to freeze here. I wanted to cover some housekeeping tips here. We're going to be monitoring the chat all in the live on the, if you're on the Zoom webinar, you got Q&A and chat. If you're on the YouTube or the LinkedIn channel, just go ahead and comment or ask questions in there, and I'll be monitoring that as well. So I think that kind of covers we're going to be listening to Wim give a presentation on materials testing. And just before we get going here, before I introduce him, I'd like to tell you a little bit about him. Wim is an application-driven consultant for a wide variety of applications, analyzing techniques and physical material properties test methods. Particularly interested in material science, physical property testing, and innovative analyzation technologies. He's always interested in helping clients with their testing requests. Their specialties, a wide expertise, experience, and network of partners to help our customers with their specific testing requirements. So with that, I'd like to introduce Wim and bring him on in. Hello, Wim. How are you? There you
Hello,
are. Hi, Wim.
Jim. Yeah, my video had to start up. Thank you for the nice introduction, and I'm fine. Thank you.
Good. All right. Well, would you like to get started with your presentation? And if I may, I'm going to turn my video off. Well, I guess I can leave it on because it'll go off to the side. But I'll be monitoring the chats and I'll try to break in if anybody asks a question this to what you're talking about at that point. I'll try to break it in and so you answer the question as you're going along.
Okay, I will start the video and um, let's start for today. Um,
Sounds good. Okay, we got the video coming up. There we go. And so the presentation here, you kind of used it. We're of course in the metals business and the metal supply chain, and you've picked the rebar as kind of a portion of the business, but kind of includes the melts and the all the testing you do for all kind of steels. So this you can apply this to not just rebar, but to flat rolled bar, sheet plate, etc. Correct?
yes, of course. This is just an example of a product, and it's a product everybody knows, so therefore I chose this one. Of course, we work mostly for R&D and mostly for a little bit more complex parts, but to keep it accessible for anyone and everybody knows what a rebar grip does and why it's used for in the construction industry. So therefore, we use that, and it's a little bit as a metaphor. We use that for introducing what our services can help for the complete supply chain of this product, but also for other products as well, and machine testing and in general, I would say. So it's a little bit an introduction. It's a short presentation. It's about 16 slides. And the global agenda of that is that we have a small introduction of Experta, which is very simple. What we would like to do is having simplifying material testing for anyone. And what we do for the industry is that we help customers to find testing possibilities at our partner labs, which we have about 450 labs now in our network, where we can help very specific questions of very specific customer problems with, and therefore we help them. For the rebar grip production, I will give a short introduction how this production works and where we can help. That's basically what this presentation is all about. And afterwards, you will have the possibility to have a Q&A session with me on specific questions you have during the presentation. Please drop them via the chat, via the possibilities of the platform, and Jim will handle them and come to me with those questions, I guess.
Very good. Thank you.
So first of all, a little bit introduction what we can do. Basically, Experta testing, we can help really from the beginning, from the mining of the supplies to really a certified product being on the market. What we also do, we help the full production process from the steel to the finished products, where we also help with looking all kind of simplified testing methods, how we will explain how we work with that. I also will have a short introduction about compliance and everything what has to do all around that. And I will have also a short introduction in how we can support you in the complete chain of from R&D, having new technologies or new products bringing to the market, but also to set up a qualification system where we can help with helping finding partners to bring your qualification system up front and make it to a certified product. And of course, we are backed with a whole network of laboratories and experts to help us, of course, and all specific expertise. I'm not the expert in anything, of course, but I'm a little bit the spider in the web to help you search the right expert for the right expertise you need at that point. So basically, if we look to the rebar production process, that's a very simple product, I would say, but it's a product where there are a few layers. First of all, it starts with the mining and the raw materials. Then, of course, you need to make the steel. Then you need to cast this steel. Then you roll it into making bars from it. Then you make the fabrication of the grids. And then, of course, you have to deliver this product and to make it compliant to the standards there are for. So if we look to the mining process, you basically, to make steel, you have four products. You have the coal coke, you have the iron ore, you have the direct induced iron, which is also a little bit a side product, and then you have the scrap metal, of course. You're all people from the steel industry, so you probably know that this process better than I do. But basically, if you have the ore, it's mostly hematite or magnetite. You make a coking coil from it. You add limestone to it, and you add scrap metal to it, and you bring that in a whole process, which has a small overview of this. In this, of course, you have like two possibilities. One is the integrated steel making, and the other is a little bit more innovative, I would say, electrical steel making process. But basically, you bring in those materials, you sinter them, bring them in ovens, you bring them in a furnace, and you come up with a steel. Of course, you have to add some process parameters, and it's more complex than that, but I like to simplify things a little bit. And once you have the steel, you making it finishing by casting it, rolling it, and bring it to steel products. And that's what we call half fabricates. So then you end up with certain steel grades and steel qualities. For our example, the steel rebar. In Europe, we use the B500B grade for steel bar, for rebar grids. In US, maybe this is a different grade you use, but basically it has to do with the carbon, it has to do with the micron alloying of it, and mostly there is a small element, vanadium, that needs to be added as a additional to give it an additional strength. The limits, there are some limits we can put in for sulfur, for phosphor, and of course this has to do with the ductility, with weldability of this steel. And what we are looking for is to have a good equilibrium that has to be controlled for having a good weldability. So if we make a grid from those bars, that it is strong and it needs to reinforce the concrete, of course, and the structure. That's basically the goal of the whole rebar grid. So the traceability of each steel has also been recorded, and therefore needs to be like a QA QC management system to put in place everything on that, so that you can bring that on the market. that's very short
Well,
how rebar production works. It's basically an introduction, and of course, that's not my specialty. But where we can help is this whole package of testing. First of all, we can help with material testing, with mechanical testing, by hardness testing, tensile testing, compression testing. We can help with thermal testing. The most thermal analyses are in scope of us. We can work with spectrometry, spectroscopy, where we can look to identifications of those steel grades, to look to trace elements that are in the plombium, the vanadium, the chromium. Are they in the good amount, and are they in the good structure in it? We can look with microscopy if there is a good microstructure in it. Is it in the ferrite phase, in the pearlite phase, in the martensite phase, your steel? Or we can look, are some elements there for having a good steel classification? So all those kind
Wait,
of,
you mind
uh,
breaking
yes,
in?
of
There's been
course.
a question come in here real quick about, and it kind of relates to this, I believe, is like, do you offer corrosion durability during the testing?
Excuse me, I did not hear which test you were asking for.
Corrosion durability.
Oh, yes, yes. This is also a test that we can help with. I think this is the norm ISO 12 6012, I guess. So of course, we can help that. That's a test that is quite often done, and these are, yeah. One of our partner labs are really expertise in those. They are also accredited for those kind of tests. So yes, these
Thank you.
are also everything what has to do with coatings of these grids and so on. We can also help with those kind of tests.
Good. Thank
Next to that, after we have performed well, after we have produced them, we need to roll the bars um, in some spaces, and of course this will give some geometry and some specific product related properties, like surface properties and diameters, weights, geometries, I would say in general. And there we can do not that much. Of course, we can help them find laboratories who can help with them, only with the metallurgic properties. There we can help on a very advanced way with SAMMEX microscopy and so on, to look to structures and so on. Next to that, of course, the quality control system comes in, and there we can help to set up everything from really the mechanical setup, the yield strength, the tensile strength, the elongation that is needed. It all have to be acquired to certain norms, of course, and there we can help a lot with helping setting up this whole system. We do a lot of testing of yielding tests on this B500B, small mistake in my presentation here, and on the visual inspection, also the NDT inspection, where we look with NDT testing methods if there is no micro cracking, if there are no grindings, if there are no porosity effects that has caused during the production, and where we can see micro porosity in it, which is mostly an effect of the casting, which has some problems. And there we can see if there are, before it comes to the market, if there are some problems with your product. Of course, next to the casting and the production of it, of course, we also look to this grinding. Is the grind really weld in the good way? That's also important, of course. It's not only making a strong bar, but if they are not welded completely, they don't have any functionality at all. So therefore, we can also look with NDT testing to the welding, but we can also look with advanced methods like TGA and so on, to look if there are eutectic layers and so on formed during this welding process. So this is also something where we can be of help. Of course, here you see a small overview what we can do in quality control. Of course, if it is epoxy coated meshes, we can also look to this coating effects, to the corrosion. This relates also to your question you had up front. Also the advanced corrosion testing with very harsh environments. Then you have to think on environments where there is H2S, or where there is salt, or there is any type of harsh environment you can expect in marine or offshore applications. For instance, if you want to make a concrete block that has to be put in the sea for having a wind turbine on it, of course, this has to be very good controlled, that it is also certain durability against corrosion for very harsh environments, as one of the examples. Of course, we can help you with everything what has to do with CE market and compliance testing. Of course, there are a lot of performance and industry specific norms that has to be followed to bring your product on the market, and so on. Also for our reinforced rebar grid, you should also be compliant with certain standards and normations and CE markings. In the first, of course, the CE is only applicable in Europe, but I'm sure also in US you will have FDA regulations who will control the stability and the durability of your rebar grid as well. So these are some standards, quality control management systems that sometimes are involved with these rebar grids. The general requirements, of course, of welding, the testing methods for welding and reinforcements, has to do more with mechanical properties. The Euro code, which is of course applicable in Europe, but of course also that it will have a counterpart in the US as well. And of course, the general construction product regulation from the CE, which gives you the CE labeling so you can bring your steel on the European market. And with all those kind of requirements, there are many tests involved with it, and we can help you find the exact specialist laboratory for this specific test or this specific application. And that's where our strong point is, and where we be of value, because we know laboratories who are very specialized in those kind of regulations, and so we can help you bring your product faster and more safe on the European market.
So that brings another question that just popped in here. Does the Experta testing have any other ISO or type certificates, maybe like a 17025, or do you follow some other industry specific certifications for testing?
Well, Experta testing is not certified itself, of course, because we are a consultancy company. That's not needed. But in our group of 400 laboratories, we have many accredited laboratories who are certified, of course, 17025. And if you give a test request, we will always ask you if it needs to be performed against an accredited lab or not. And if you ask for that, of course, we will only select accredited labs for performing the test. So that's how we work.
Perfect. Thank you.
So a small summary, we are almost through the presentation. We have seen the complete supply chain from mining, iron making, steel making, casting, rolling, production of the rebar grid, and delivery, compliance, and everything what has to do with quality assurance. Of course, at every stage we can help you. We can help you with the mechanical tests, the chemical tests, of course, dimensional checks. You do mostly yourself, but if you see some material failure occurring, or you see some micro cracking, we really can search why they are coming up, and we can really look to the structural nature of them, so we can help you to do the failure founding, I would say, and everything what has to do with new innovations. If you want to reduce some elements or you want to add some elements, we can look at what is the influence on the physical properties in general, but on the thermal or the mechanical properties will be the most interesting one. Mostly you would like to modified, and instead of rebar grips. Mostly these are the two main groups of questions we get. And of course, the final product, the rebar grids, they have to meet the NEN standards, the CE marking, and we can help you with everything what has to do in terms of testing for apply or acquiring this CE market. Of course, reinforced concrete structures rely on these precise control and ensure quality and ensure safety and performance. And to ensure all this, you need to apply on quality. You need to apply from the start of your R&D. You have to look to all these physical properties to look if your product really will be possible to come on the market, and therefore we are your partner to really help you from the early beginning, from the mining, but even from the R&D where you would like to start mining. If it is feasible, if it is economically wise to start there, we can help you with finding the right analysis and tests to really support your IDs and to really bring your products faster to the market. So that's basically what we do at Experta, and I think now it's time for having our Q&A. So if there are questions, I'm open to help you.
Yes, there was a question here that said, okay, so it says, do the the advanced testing is in quotation. So do the advanced testing include any deep learning, AI technology, or AI image recognition coming into play to revolutionize the understanding, easy and fast reporting, and inline quality monitoring that was not possible before?
Um, we work at the moment on AI modeling with some projects. Basically, we work mostly on the support of those models with real value industry property values, I would say. So yes, we are working a little bit on the side of that, but we have also some partners who does NDT work where they already work with advanced software, which makes AI fault detecting possibilities already possible on the images they make.
Okay, good. Thank you. Another one, what kind of R&D projects have you done in the steel industry?
Um, well, in the steel industry, we have, as said, we have helped a petrochemical company with detecting eutectic layers in welding for drilling purposes. And we also have looked to very thin layer coatings. We also have looked to yeah, heat exchangers for process industry. So those kind of advanced, but we mostly work for the high-end machine making, where we look to the precision industry and we look to modify this steel as such that the expansion coefficient or that the durability or the friction or the performance of these materials for these specific applications perform better. That's more in the R&D side. And on the quality assurance side, we mostly look to helping the customer really find and to set up their quality system for new products instead of performing the really Q&A testing itself, because that will be done by themselves or by their tier one contract labs where they already work with. So we help them to really set up the systems and set up the R&D physical property performance values, so we can yeah, help them validate their product upfront on based on values on real testing.
Perfect. So a couple more questions here. One of them is, do you collaborate with universities or any research institutes?
Yes, we do. But most of our partners are private, commercial labs where they have already established the quality system, accreditation, or so ever. At universities, we work together mostly on very early stage R&D questions. They go mostly to governmental research institutes or universities. But for the most industrial questions, we go to commercial labs where we have more reliability, traceability, and more yeah, accreditation possibilities with, of course.
Cool. So there's about three or four more questions. I'm going to try to combine two of them here into one. Um, Somebody's asked, can you submit the samples remotely and receive the results digitally? Which also also the next question is, do you provide virtual consultations for test planning or failure analysis? I don't know if those are two separate or if you can address them at one time. Do you get both of them?
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, basically virtual consultation. Yeah, that's basically very easy. You just go to our website, you book a meeting with me, and you can talk about every test request with me. So that's basically the virtual consultation. It's free. You can have a half an hour talk with me. Easy booking whenever I'm available. You see it in in the Calendly overview, and then you book a meeting when it suits you best. For the
By the way, what is the website? Experta testing, Experta dash testing, what
yes,
is
yes, it's www.experta-testing.com.
okay. I'll get
And
you too. Thank you.
if you for the part on the reporting, of course, all the reports are done in PDF, so they are all digital. For the what was the other question again?
Submitting the samples. How do you submit samples? Can you do it
Oh,
remotely?
yeah, we always do the sample pickup at the customer's facility, and we organize the whole chain from sample pickup to report everything in between. So yes, of course, we will organize the complete chain. So we always pick up the samples at the customer itself. It will be included in the quotation if you ask a test request, that is.
Perfect. So, and then the kind of getting close to the end here, what is the turnaround time for results usually? Do you have a standard turnaround time?
Well, that's a quite tricky and difficult question to answer, of
Yeah.
course, but it all depends the type of test. If you ask a test and it requires 500 hours to test, of course, we need to wait for this test. But basically, we try to have a turnover time within 3-4 weeks. That's a little bit the average what we have for most tests we provide. If it is urgent, of course, please tell us that at the beginning of your test request, and we will do whatever possible in partnership with our testing labs, of course, but we will do whatever possible to get the results as soon as possible to you. Of course, within all limitations of the test itself and all the stress factors that are needed for shipment and so on. But within the scope, we can help you the best we can for that. But keep in mind, 3-4 weeks, that's a quite average test turnover time we have.
Cool. All right. So, which kind of leads to the final thing. The how do your services compare with competitors in price and value?
Oh, that's all. That's also a tricky question, but I
Yeah.
think we are quite market conform to keep it a little bit general. But we work with the most partners. We work quite often with them, so we get a quite good price from our laboratories. Of course, we have also our consultancy price on top of that. But if you compare that with having your own search costs and your time you will spend to find a good solution. I think we are a quite good deal, and of course, it's easy to say that by myself, but it's I think just challenge us, book ask a test request, and compare what we can offer compared to others.
Perfect. Now that kind of leads me to my final question. How do we get in touch with you?
Well, the easiest one is just go to the website. One time more, it's www.experta-testing.com. You go to that on the right-hand upper corner, you see start a test request. You write your test request, and automatically it comes in our system. An AI system will help me to find the best laboratory connection. And of course, I will look to that, clarify everything with you, look with the laboratories if everything is fitting the right purpose, and then we can have a quotation for that. We will pick up the samples and we will handle everything till you have the report that answers the question you initially had.
Great. That sounds great. So the only other thing I can add to that is that, one of the things that how we met was we have a community called steelguys.steelrep.com, which is a community for the metal supply chain. And we try to bring a little value. You're a sponsor of that site, and you have a what we call a space inside there where you can also get a hold of you and others that are in the business, ask any questions, not only with testing, but any other questions you might have. We talk about tariffs and the things that are going on in the metals business as well. Each week we do that. So that's steelguys.steelrep.com. And if you'd like a link to your space, just reach out to you, and you've got a link for a free membership into that space. So I think that answers that. Steelguys.steelrep.com. And the way to get a hold of me is Jim Glenn at steelrep.com. Email me there, and I'll answer any questions, send the links to you, whatever you need. And if you forget the website or whatever, just email us at jimglenn at steelrep.com, and we'd love to reach out to you and join up with you. So anything you'd like to finalize with there, Wim? I appreciate your time here
Uh,
today and enjoyed
I,
it.
I would say if every member of the Steel Guys have any question, please go to our sponsored space and ask a question in the feed or in the chat with me, and I will try to answer it as soon as possible. Of course, there is a time difference, but it will be answered next day. I'm quite sure on that.
Yes, very good, very good. Have you been doing much traveling lately?
Yes, I'm traveling, yeah, the whole the time for the moment, but I hope to get things settled a little bit quicker those days. But of course, we will answer as soon as possible, and I said it will be within 24 hours for sure.
Very good. Well, very good. Well, thank you again for your time. That wraps up all the questions. So if you have anything else, we can wrap it up here now, or and look
I have
forward to
no
doing
more
it again
questions.
soon. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation today. Really, really enjoyable.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too, you too, Jim.
Yeah. Thanks. All right. Bye bye now.